welcome back to the channel. I'm Candy and I'm going to talk you through what we're doing here on the Wild Heart Hustle Homestead. So for a bit of context for those new viewers, we have escaped the 9 to 5, we've quit the corporate life, trying to get out of the system as much as we can, sold our house in an urban area and moved 3 hours away from our family and friends to a more rural area, and we're attempting to build a frugal homestead from scratch. Now, sounds a bit mad, but we're doing it. We've purchased the house at auction outright, so we're now mortgage free at 42, something I'm extremely proud of. And these videos are the kind of diary of our life, how we're doing, what we're doing, and why we're doing. So thank you for joining me today. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the cost of living crisis. I mean, everyone, unless you're living under a rock, should have felt the effects of that or know what's going on in the country. For us, it's a little bit different as well, because although we're still on the same receiving end as a consumer like everyone else, we have changed our life around, so we've got different ideas, different needs and different ways that we're interacting with the system. Now, I don't know about you, but cost of living crisis, right? Let me switch that back. Cost of living crisis has been going on for a long time, in my opinion, in this country. But more recently, I don't know if anyone has really noticed the food prices shooting up exponentially. Now, obviously, they've been going up for a while, and it's quite well known. I mean, it's in the news, it's all over the place, forums, Facebook, YouTube, everything. But we're trying to live a more self-sufficient lifestyle. We're not at that point yet, so we do still need to obviously go shopping. And I was so shocked. The other week we went to, and we don't shop extravagantly, you know, you've seen our prepper pantry, you've seen our yellow sticker hauls and stuff like that. It's nice to pop in some of the more expensive shops now and then, but primarily our main food shop is from Aldi or Lidl, and nothing wrong with those shops, absolutely love them, and we did shop at those before we started this new way of life as well, so there's no change there for us. We went shopping a couple of weeks ago. So one thing that we are trying to do is spread out our shopping trips, whereas previously we might have gone definitely once a week, but if not a couple of times a week maybe, but we're trying to go to every 2 weeks at the moment, just to try and keep costs down a little bit. And we went to Aldi, we bought I say a few bits because it literally was, you know, the smaller trolleys, it wasn't even overflowing or anything like that, it was just basic stuff, there was nothing extravagant in there. By extravagant, I'm talking about, you know, steak, chicken, that type of stuff. I know chicken's not extravagant, but you know, I mean, no big ticket items, shall we say. Just standard food shop, you know, milk, cheese, bread, there was some meat in there, I think mince, and the mince is actually the one price that I've noticed has gone up so much. And we had a small trolley's worth, and I think, like, this is probably where we do need to manage our money a little bit more, because we're going into a shop, we're putting stuff in. Maybe one thing that we need to do is add up as we go along, because we got to the till, went through, in my mind I was thinking, that's about £60, and to do a shop every 2 weeks for 2 people and get it for about 60 odd quid, and let me just caveat, it doesn't include cat food, it doesn't include cleaning products and stuff, some cleaning products and some toiletries, but not all of them. I think that's pretty good going, to be fair. We're doing quite well about getting our bills down. However, it was like £88, and I said to Kel, why is it so expensive? You know, we checked the receipts and no, that's just what it was. So, I mean, that's a worry in itself, and I know there are a lot of people struggling out there, and people like us that are trying to do something different, it's even more important for us to place this onus on getting our homestead up and running. So I know that everyone's probably in the same boat as us that can't wait to start seeing us do the homesteady bits. We're in that limbo period, I think I mentioned before. The limbo period of, you know, winter's coming, there's no real point in starting to dig up the garden at this moment to start getting seeds in and stuff. I'm sure there is stuff that we can grow. And on that note, the triplets, so our bell pepper, our sweet pepper and our tomato plant, they're all doing really well. about four sweet peppers on. There's still only the one bell pepper, but the tomatoes are now starting to ripen as well. And I'm looking out the window as I talk to you, and it's a nice bit of rain out there, so that will give the grass a good water, and it will give the triplets a little bit of a drink as well. Anyway, I digress. So talking about the cost of living, I just can't believe how expensive things are going up, how high they're going up, how quickly they're going up, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. And for people like us that are trying to do something a bit differently, it does throw a lot of curveballs and put a lot of obstacles in, because I've said all along, you know, you need money. I'm not sitting here advocating the fact that you don't need money, because you 100% need money to get by in this world. And I've said it before, we're surviving on our savings pot at the moment whilst we get settled and whilst we figure out what we want to do. But I'm under no illusion that I'm going to need an income at some point. So I just want to make that clear. You know, I'm not sitting here advocating everyone quit their jobs and don't have money, because we were quite privileged that we worked hard previously to get our savings and the house equity to a decent level that we could live this life that we live in, and we're loving it. So that's our story. But you saw at the beginning of the video that we did a boot sale, another boot sale. It's tough, another early morning, getting that done though. The boot sales in this area where we are, so in kind of Lincolnshire, totally different from Essex. I mean, we could do a boot sale in Essex, we've done them before, and we could make 200-300 quid sometimes. This time it was a bit like the last one we did a couple of weeks ago. We made just under £100, which is great because it starts building up our pot, and that helps to make our money and our savings stretch further. But there was just hardly anyone there, and it was like the one we went to was like one of the biggest boot sales in this area apparently, and it was the second time that we've done this one now. And even the traders that were there were like, just no one's spending any money, no one's walking around, no one's spending anything, or if people are there, they seem like they're on the lookout for something as opposed to just browsing and getting stuff when they see a bargain, that type of thing. So we're doing that to top up our income a little bit. We're also cooking a lot more from scratch. We've also got our preps. You've seen our prepper pantry video, hopefully. There's a lot of stuff on there that's followed us from house to house that we are going to start having to rotate and make sure that the dates don't come up. So we're doing a lot of cooking from scratch, which is saving us money. And it's important to know that I don't want people to feel sorry for us. I've said that a million times. It's only because people that we love watch our videos. You know, we've made this choice. We want to live this way. And I'm just highlighting the fact that even for us, it is ridiculous, you know, the amount of money that we're having to spend on food shopping. So we want to cut that down dramatically, and our goal, as I've said all along, is once our homestead is up and running, look, we're not going to be able to live off our garden. It's not going to, in an SHTF situation we might have to, that's another story. But we're going to grow quite a lot of stuff. We hope it's going to be successful. I've said before that the soil and the ground around here is extremely fertile. That's why we're in between and landlocked in with loads of farms, because they have such good crops and they get like 3 or 4, I think it's 3 actually, 3 harvests per field out here. So it's very sought after land. That's farmland. We're just going to be doing it with our little old allotment and our little old homestead. So I'm hoping that we're going to have quite a bit of success. We also want to start bartering some of our fruit and veg. I say fruit, we haven't spoken much about fruit, but we do want to get some fruit trees as well. So we think in the future we'll be able to bring our food budget down even more. And I'm not saying that we're going without, because we're absolutely not going without. We're having some beautiful food, but we're even having to be extra mindful about what we're spending, why we're spending it, and every penny has a job at the moment, because that's just the situation we're in, and we've chosen to be in this situation. And it's really interesting the way that your money works differently for you when you have a different mindset, because, you know, we might have had a bit of disposable income when we was in our previous life, and then it would always go on things that we didn't really need, like extra clothes, or you'd go on a night out, or you just, let's book a weekend away or something like that. Now to us that seems completely alien, but I feel like I can judge because we've been in that situation. But it feels a bit alien now, because every extra penny that we have that doesn't have to go on bills then obviously we're putting it to good use, and it's purchasing something for the homestead, or it's getting food, or it's getting petrol, it's necessities and not just wants, and that's absolutely fine. That's what we want to do with our life, and we're able to control our spending quite a bit. Obviously, coming up to winter, we're not wanting to do so much, and we want to, this is my favourite time of year. We've got loads of candles. We get the cinnamon candles on, and we just chill a little bit, and we relax in front of our fire. So that's another point. That's another way that we're able to save money. I've said before about future-proofing our house. We've also got our log burner, so we do need to try and get the money together to get our logs, and that needs to be as soon as possible, really. Everyone's telling us that we need to get kind of logs in as soon as possible. But we're able to control our heating. We're all electric, so there's no gas, so we've just got that singular bill, and we are able to control our usage where we need to. We've also got a EcoFlow solar generator. We're not great at this time of day. I'm looking out the window. It's pretty grey and miserable. I think it's going to be like this all week, to be honest. But we can get solar energy, and what we do with our solar generator is we charge up all our devices. And when I say devices, I mean headphones, iPads, phones, all that type of stuff, power packs for our phones, and all of that. We charge that up on our solar generator. And we've done that always since we've had that solar generator, to be honest. Not just at this property, but in our previous life as well. It just became a habit, and we've just stuck to that. So we've got that going on. I know that's only going to be minimal savings, but when you don't have a lot of outgoings, even the minimal savings can add up to a lot across the year. The other thing as well is we're on a septic tank, so we can control our wastewater bills, so we do that once every 12 months. Obviously, we've only had it done once since we moved in. We got that done as soon as we got settled and not even in the property, before we was even in the property. We've never dealt with a septic tank before, so we got kind of the company to come round, and they emptied the tank, did all that, and they said for a 2-person household, you're looking at probably every 18 months, 2 years. But he said after the first year, give us a call, just so we can check everything's working all right. So we're going to do that, and we've had no problems, touch wood, so far. So we're able to control that cost. And obviously the big thing for us is we don't have the biggest bill which people have, which is their housing. So we don't have a mortgage, we don't have rent to pay. So our bills are quite low. We're debt free, so we don't have any debt payments going out. And that really was the bulk of what we had in our previous life. We had, even though we had good salaries coming in, we had a lot of debt. I don't know how that works, because now we've got no money coming in and we haven't got any debt. So it's like we're essentially in the same situation. It's really hard to explain. Anyway, that's another story. But we're just trying to keep our spending to a minimum. We've got a family in Essex, I've said that before, so when we do need to pop back, obviously that includes petrol now. So we've had a massive year in our family of big birthdays, and we've still got another one to go, so we still have to keep going back to and from Essex. But that should quieten down after September, so we shouldn't have too many trips that we need to get back down there for. But it's not saying that we're not going to be able to do that. It's just that we're pooling our money into other areas. So I've mentioned the fence needs doing. We need to get the back fence doing. But whilst we've got this quiet period, we're not just sitting here doing nothing. We're using it to our advantage. We've got a lot of stuff in, and we do want to top up our prep. So when we go food shopping now, even though I can't believe the ridiculous pricing, we might add a couple of tins or a couple of bags of pasta just to go in the prep. So we're sort of building up, but we're not noticing the hit when it comes to getting to the till. Other ways that we're trying to save money, we've said we're advocates for getting out in nature and stuff like that, and where previously we might have got to the end of the week and thought, should we go for a meal? We don't do that anymore, because I'm really enjoying cooking and making nice meals myself, trying out different recipes. But we're going out on a lot of different walks, absolutely free. We live near the coast, go for a walk along the beach, absolutely free. So we're just making the most of what we have, and I don't feel that we've gone without whatsoever. It is just ridiculous though how much everything seems to be. Every kind of, I say contract, I don't mean that like, well I guess some contracts, but like house insurance, the AA we need to get, car insurance, you know, your mobile phone contract, all of those are going up and up and up. Like, how are people surviving? I really don't know how people are surviving. It is absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's going to get a hell of a lot worse, and we are just trying to live our best life on our homestead, and I feel like we got out at the right time. We just wanted to get out of the system. We were disillusioned with what was going on in the world, and we've lived such a good life already. I'm not writing myself off, I'm only 42, almost 43, but we've done the materialistic thing, you know, and quite frankly we can't afford to live that life anymore, and we don't want to live that life anymore. We've completely changed our life around, completely changed our mindset. I would just wanted to come and speak to you all about the ridiculousness of the shopping and food prices at the moment. Even I was shocked, and I do budget and I do kind of keep note of what we're using, and got an inventory and all that type of stuff when I do my cooking. It's literally getting ridiculous, and we're going to have to make big choices going forward because of our limited savings pot. Like, we're going to have to make choices about what we do, and that's what I mean when I say every penny has got a job, because we're going to need to allocate for all these different things that we need doing. We're going to need to allocate them onto what we want to spend and what are our priorities essentially. But the main thing is that we're going to start building this homestead from scratch. We're not going to start building it. We already have started building it. So we're doing all the house stuff. For example, this week it's a bit miserable outside, so we're going to start concentrating on some of the internal painting. I think I mentioned that a couple of videos ago. So the bathroom cupboard, which is kind of where the smart immersion tank is, we are kind of kitting that out with some shelves from the previous shelves that were there. Obviously they don't fit in now. It was like an airing cupboard. They don't fit in now because of the new boiler. So we're going to kind of fashion them, use what we've got, use what tools we've got, get some shelves up in there, give it a brand new coat of paint, new handles, all that type of stuff. And then we've got quite a lot of painting that still needs doing, quite an extensive amount actually. So skirting boards, doors, door frames, architraves, all that. We want to paint both the front doors, the external one and the internal one, and the front door step. And then finally we'll get to a point where we want to get some paint on the walls. I think I mentioned it's quite a bit sterile in here, purely because we just wanted it all fresh, clean after plastering so we could get in. Now we're living in it, we want to add a bit of colour. But again, that comes down to budgeting. So at the moment we're not in a position to go out and buy loads of new paint, because we're trying to make sure that we've got our pot to get our new fence and the new water pump. Not the new water pump, the new water pipe. We've had to fix on the water pipe, but we need a brand new water pipe essentially. So we need to get those done. We need to get our logs in, and then we're going to be starting to plan what we want to do in the homestead. And like I said earlier, trust me, I want to start showing you all the stuff we're doing on the homestead, and all this, like the beds we're getting done and what we're planting and everything. That is coming. We're just not doing that right now because we've got a lot of our other priorities that we want to get done in the meantime. But this was one of my classic rambles about the cost of living and some of the ways that we're changing our mindset, changing our lives, changing our habits. So we've got, you know, cooking a lot more from scratch. We've done quite a bit of foraging. We've got our wood burner, so we'll be getting our logs, so we'll be able to control a lot with kind of the heating over the winter. Just to add on that, we're inexperienced with log burners, so we'll be sharing that along the way, what our journey is like with them. We're all electric in this house, so we are able to control our usage quite a bit. We're on a septic tank, so we're able to keep our wastewater and sewage bills down. So we know what that we can budget for that. We know what that's going to be. Bartering, we want to get back into bartering. And finally, just making different choices. This is a scary world at the moment, and a lot of people are struggling. It's about how you look at it, you know. We might be struggling materialistically, but we're not struggling with what's good for us. And we made the decision to move out of the urban areas and get more rural, get back to nature, start growing our own. We've been able to do that by being clever with our money, by selling our property, selling items that we don't need anymore, cancelling our brand new car finance and sending that back and just getting a car that's perfect for us, an older car that does. It's been amazing. Our little Blanche, we call her Blanche. So she's been fantastic, and just things like that. It's not all about the materialistic things. I know that that's hard for people to understand, but we're continuing to build this life and build a frugal existence because we make sacrifices in a financial way, in a materialistic way. We're able to enjoy the fruits of our labour in other ways. So my last video was all about the health benefits. Do you know what I mean? I'm much more healthier than what I was. I'm enjoying my life much more. I have much more autonomy over my time. It's about, it's weighing up what it actually is that you want from life. But just more rambling thoughts from me. Lots more videos to come, and those homesteading videos will 100% come, trust me. We want to get there as much as you. We've just got some jobs to tick off before then. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep coming on and chatting to you about different things that you can do, ways of saving money, what we're doing to save money, and still sharing some of the stuff that we're doing on this homestead, renovation-wise, cooking-wise, and life-wise. So thank you for following along. Lots more journey and lots more content to come. We're going to share everything along the way. So if you like this video, please hit the notification bell and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. See you soon, hustlers.